Alright, so 4 Year Strong is back with their second full-length album, and this one is a little bit different. This is a cover album, and it's not just any cover album, it's a 90s cover album. And basically, they chose the songs that either meant a lot to them, or, you know, that inspired them, or just songs that were big in the 90s. Songs that, if you thought about the 90s, you know, some of these songs would pop up, and it's called Explains It All. And first, I have to say, this is probably my favorite cover album ever. I know New Found Glory have done 2, and I know MXPX have done 2, but this one, I think, it's just amazing. It's just awesome, and my favorite. It's just what they did to the songs that they chose is just crazy. It's just phenomenal. It's just, they took songs that, you know, songs that you thought, oh, there's no way that they could cover it and make it better, but they did. And then they chose songs that, you know, you're like, how are they gonna make it their own? And they totally did with every single one. So let's just go through. Well, 4 Year Strong is a 5-piece band, and they're from Boston, and they play a pop punk, melodic hardcore, kind of in the vein of bands like Set Your Goals, A Loss for Words, A Day to Remember, Fireworks, New Found Glory, bands like that. And they also have 2 singers, one with a higher pitch and one with a deeper pitch, kind of like Set Your Goals and Blink-182. But these guys are amazing, and they have a keyboard as well, which just only adds to their insaneness, if that makes any sense, if that's a word. But anyways, this album is ridiculous, and let me just go through the songs. The first one is So Much for the Afterglow, and it's by Everclear. And I think for those to really recognize this song, you have to be an Everclear fan, or you have to have seen the movie Loser, which is an awesome movie, because that's probably the only way you probably heard this song, because I don't believe this was a single of theirs. But it's so awesome. Everclear kind of had a punkish sound to them, so you know these guys only just did what they did and just made it even more punk rock. And it's just awesome, fast song. It's a short song, so. But they did it and they made it awesome. It's just a great opener. It just pumps you up for the rest of the songs. The next one is one of my favorites, and it's been on their MySpace for a while, and it's absolutely Story of a Girl. And I always liked the original. It's one of those songs where you've had to have been around the 90s, and because it was big in the 90s, but you never heard it again. It's just they never played it after the 90s, and it's weird. So when you hear them cover it, you're like, oh my god, this shit brings you back. But it's like they took it, sped it up just a little bit, and they just made it perfect. They took that song and made it a 4 Year Strong song, and it's just so good. It's just, when you hear it, you're just gonna smile, and you're just gonna be like, man, this song's the shit. And it's just, they totally did it, and it's amazing, and you have to check it out. Just go to their MySpace and it's on there. It's just so good. Next up is Alanis Morissette's Ironic, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is a song by Alanis Morissette, which is a female singer, and you're thinking, what are they gonna do to this? But let me tell you guys, they just made it sick as hell. It sounds like the original, because the original is kind of slow, and then the chorus would come, and then she would just she would just sing out the chorus like one of those like one of those, you sing the chorus because it's just a powerful chorus. And they just brought it, man. When the chorus comes up in the song, it's just so fast and heavy. And then when the next verse comes up, they 4 Year Strong, punk it up. It's just awesome. One of my favorites, too. So good. When you hear it, you're just going to be like, man, awesome. Next up is Bullet with Butterfly Wings. And this one has Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die. And this one's awesome, too. I mean, this song was heavy. So they just kind of... It still sounds like Smash, like the original, but they kind of heavied it up a little bit, sped it up a little bit too, and it's just so good. I love the ending of the song. It's so fast and awesome. It's just good stuff. Good, awesome stuff. Next up is probably another one of my favorites, and I'm gonna say it a lot because I really do almost love every single song on this. So I may get repetitive. Sorry in advance, but. Next up is Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind, and I always loved this song. I remember buying the album the day it came out because I was so obsessed with that song. And what they did is just flawless. It's just it almost had like a like the way the verses were in the original, it was almost like a rap. Like he almost rapped it in a way, but the way they did it is just so good. They sped it up a little bit, made it heavy, made it aggressive, but made it catchy at the same time. It's just so good. It's just, they're amazing. Probably my favorite song. It's so good. You have to hear it. It's on their MySpace too. Check it out. Next up is Spiderwebs, and you know, no doubt is they kind of have a punkish sound to them. So, you know, it kind of sounds similar. They have the horn players from Less Than Jake. So good. You know, it's heavy, but still sounding like, you know, I shouldn't say heavy, but it's just really pop punkish sounding. So good. They did everything pretty much, you know, that's how the song sounds originally. But at the end, instead of, you know, they have an outro in the original where it's like, you know, I'm walking in the spider webs, and it's just, but instead they just kind of did a hardcore breakdown at the end to end the song, which is very cool and very different. And I'm glad they did that to kind of change it up a little bit. Next song is Roll to Me by Del Amatri, and this, you won't know their name, but you'll know the song. And I always loved this song. It was a great song, and I'm so glad they did it because it's one of those songs where not everybody would know it, you know. It was just like you would hear it every now and then, but it definitely wasn't like a staple of the 90s. But I loved it, and I'm glad they picked it. It made you seem like, okay, man, these guys had definitely the same type of they were definitely into the same type of bands I was into back in the 90s. So that's cool. You know, it makes you think you're not the only one. But anyways, this song is awesome. What they did to it is great. It still kind of sounds like Roll to Me, but they even have like hardcore chants in it, which is awesome. So good. You have to check that one out too. Anyways, next up is Fly and by Sugar Ray. And I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely into that song, and I definitely had the album when it came out. And they did, it was cool what they did to it. You know, it's still, they couldn't totally 4 Year Strong, you know, change the song up, but it definitely sounds like it. And it features vocals by Travis from Gym Class Heroes, and I'm a little disappointed in him and what his contribution, because in the original, you know, there's a part where it had Supercat, and I remember he did a rap like in the middle, like a little, like it was about maybe a 20-30 second rap, and he just kind of says stuff here and there, but there's no section of the song where he just raps on it, and he could have taken full advantage and it would have been incredible, but he didn't. He kind of just says stuff here and there, but for the most part this one's good. Probably one of my least favorite ones, but it's still really awesome. Good stuff. Next up is In Bloom by Nirvana, and this is one of those bands where it's like, oh, you can't touch it, don't touch them, you know, it's forbidden, you can't cover Nirvana, but they did, and it definitely sounds like In Bloom. You know, I don't think they wanted to mess with it too much, but it definitely sounds awesome and it's really good. Check it out. Next one is She Really Loved You, and it's by Reach the Sky, or Reach the Sky, and I've definitely heard of them. I've had a few of their songs in the past, but I haven't really heard this song. But this song is just a fast punk rock sounding song for them, so if you don't know it, you'll definitely like it because it's fast but melodic too. It's just awesome. Probably the fastest, probably the most punk rock thing I've heard from 4 Year Strong. It's really cool. And last up is She's So High by Tal Bachman, and you may not have heard this song. You may have. It's in a lot of romantic comedies and teen movies. Actually, this is probably my least favorite song. I think they probably could have, you know, done more with it. It kind of sounds a little too much like the original, but you know, they could have like sped it up, did something, you know, a little bit more to it, but it's still awesome nonetheless. And that's that. Those are 11 songs. It's so good. Definitely the best cover album I've ever heard. So it just, when you hear it, it just makes you you're like, oh, I can't wait till their next full length because this was so awesome. And I have to give it 5 stars. It's amazing. This album and Set Your Goals comes out on the 21st of July. Pick them both up. I think they should be $10 each at Best Buy. Both amazing. They're both on tour. The Gig Life tour. Go to it. Support both of these bands. They're awesome. Pick this one up. It's incredible. Fantastic.